And so this last year I've been in my full feminine energy, and I am not a fan. And I also really fucking love it.
Yeah.
Because everything that is for this next layer of my life, this next era of my life, my curtain call, so to speak, this curtain call and the legacy I'm going to leave behind, this is required because I'm recalibrating to not just be the force that I am. I know I'm a force, like as a given. I've been a force since, I was 2 feet tall. But now to be this divine feminine force is like the real glow up and the real flex. And so I'm here for it, no matter how uncomfortable it is.
Deep bow, sister. Deep bow. That is
so uncomfortable.
Oh my God. That is the real work in real time.
Real time.
And that is to me, the epitome of people showing up and doing the real work. Not just the work, I'm checking the boxes and I did my practices every day. Like you're in the trenches of fully living and showing up, and you're only going to find your people by going through it, right? For instance, I felt you so deeply when you mentioned about being vulnerable. So we did have that powerful conversation. And I think what it's so scary is when you've been vulnerable in the past and someone has used that abusively against you, or however that may look like, it's really hard to trust in that process again, to open up and be so. However, and that's the whole part of it. You're supposed to keep moving through those chapters and seasons so you can build this beautiful beingness and becoming even more connected and deeply connected in true oneness. And so I love that you shared that.
I will share this too, because what you just said is so key. Like when you've been burned, especially by people that you thought you could trust fully. I had a betrayal about, 2.5 years ago now, with one of the very few women that I allowed myself to be fully, as vulnerable as I was capable in that relationship, I will say. I never fully went there because I intuitively and was divinely protected to know she couldn't do it. However, she got more of me than any other person outside of my children had gotten. And there was this breakdown in the relationship, and she betrayed me. She did me so dirty. So dirty. And even though I knew it wasn't about me, it was more about her, it still fucking hurt. I'm a human being. This was hard for me. And my very first prayer don't get me wrong, I'll turn my life into a Dateline episode in 2 minutes if I have to. However, once I got through the rage that I felt for those 2 minutes, because I was like so angry, my very first prayer was, God, please don't harden my heart and wall me up so much that I miss the beautiful, beautiful, amazing connections and women that are coming to be my sisters on this journey, so that I can honor the calling and the mission you have on my life. My very first prayer within 2 minutes was, do not harden my heart. And sure as shit, the right people, like that betrayal made room for all of it. And had I been so angry and let betrayal rob me of my own vulnerability, I'm not here today with you having this conversation. My spirituality would have been a fucking marketing plan rather than my essence and my embodiment. You know what I'm saying? So I have to walk that talk. It's not easy. It's not easy. And even still with my, I got a tattoo with 2 of my girls the other day. It's this triangle, right?
I love it.
Mind, body, spirit. And we're all one corner of it. And even knowing how safe and secure and pure they are, I'm still scared every time I'm in vulnerability with them. I'm like, please don't betray me.
Yeah.
I'm like, please don't betray me. Please don't turn your back on me. Even if we have to have a hard conversation, or even if I do something that hurts you, triggers you, whatever, activates you, whatever, please stay in this with me. I have never said that in my life, ever. Because the very people that were supposed to do that for me failed me. No matter how great of people they were, and they didn't have the skills or the willingness or the accountability to do that for me. So leaning into that today is I'm doing it in real time with you all. I would say it's like building a muscle. Like obviously the more reps you put in, the easier it gets, but it's still scary as fuck every time I do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think there's ever a moment to where it's not scary, because the past, the pain of the past is so fresh. That wound.
Muscle memory is no joke.
It's like, it's still there. You've been cut open and ripped apart. And to still show up though, and still continue to move forward and blaze trails and trust the process. But I think there's a deeper layer to that. And that is where, in my opinion, the difference is to those that are truly connected to God, as opposed to those who are just walking their own path and they're in their own ego. You can vastly see a difference and
can feel a difference.
And to the people that come and betray the very vulnerable, ability that we share, they're the ones walking without connection. They're the ones walking into spiritual ego and spiritual narcissism many times, right? And so I just feel like it's always, as much as it hurts and it just tears you to pieces, it's also just a reminder of the spaces that are open to us after the storm, the people that are there for you when you know that's where you're supposed to be, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
Where they just kind of fall away and you're going towards where
painful.
You're supposed to be guided.
It's painful. I was telling you, I had my Akashic records read, human design I'm into. Obviously, the Enneagram is my favorite tool, astrology, all the things. And part of my calling is to be this mirror for people. And some people are really drawn to it. A lot of people are really drawn to it at first. And either they get what they need from me in the mirror that I am and they move on, and that can feel painful sometimes. Or the mirror is so bright that they can't handle the light, and then they'll project and blame like that person did. And that also, even though I understand all of this from the neck up, like in all of my charts and all of my, tools that kind of explain who I am and God's plan for my life, even though I understand this fully from the neck up and cognitively know this is more about them than it is you, it's still from the neck down is so painful. And I think this was a really important part of getting through grief of any sort. And to get to transformation, you have to have acceptance. And to get to acceptance, you have to feel everything, not just understand it. Like feeling it from the neck down felt weak to me at first. I was like, well, if I just understand this, then they can't hurt me and then I can move on. And the same package with different wrapping paper would continue to show up. And it's not until we allow ourselves to feel the pain and the hurt of those things that we can move through it and blaze a different trail. The other thing that was said to me just the other day, because I am in this state of recalibration and radically uncomfortable. Like I feel like I'm blowing up my life in a lot of ways. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like seriously, I don't even know. I'm like, am I an asshole? Am I a fraud? Am I going to, go on a bender? What is happening, God? Like seriously. And it's just, I'm being recalibrated. And how it was explained to me is every time that we step out, like look at life like a tightrope, right? And no matter how skilled you are, even, the people that do it as a circus act and it's their career, the first few steps are wobbly. But it's not until you start to get momentum that it's like, boom, effortless. And what was said to me is like, you've been stepping out on the tightrope most of your life. You're just on level 2000. So you're really way up there right now. And the look down is a little bit, it's a bigger fall. The higher you go up, the further the fall. Right. And it's still the same fucking tightrope though. You just got to take those first few steps out there. And it was cool because I'm in this mastermind. And last year, one of the kind of like bonding things we did was a ropes course. And one of the things was a tightrope. And it is so symbolic for where I've been in the last few months. Like, my feet are on the rope, but my hand is still on the post behind me. And I'm like, I'd start to take a step. It's like, no, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. And on the other end of the rope was somebody that we were to meet in the middle. I could see how terrified she was. She was petrified. And I was like, she's not going to go if I don't. And I let go. And of course, like my heart, like I'm feeling it in my whole body right now. The first few steps are like, fuck, I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall. And I was like, I just like laser focus straight ahead. And she's like, your eyes are keeping me sane right now. And I was just like laser focused. And I was like, boom, like a jaguar across that thing. And when that was reminded to me this week, I was like, just get on the goddamn rope. Just get on the rope and get some momentum and the rest will fall into place. So no matter what level, how many ropes high you are right now, it's still the same damn rope. Look straight ahead, not down, and go.
I love it. Lock in, stay in your lane.
Yeah. Just
laser
go.
focused. It's
just go.
And the power of having somebody along the way, the person you could even just lock into with that trust, the process and all of it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. When that was said to me this week about the tightrope, and I recalled back to that moment and the strength I felt in anything in my life when I, walked away from the career and started a whole new in a whole new industry with a whole different kind of person. I got on that rope and just went, and I felt like so embodied in God. Like, this is the calling on my life. Like, I honor the calling that and the mission you have on my life, but I have to take those steps of faith that even if I fall, it's going to be okay. It's going to be more than okay. And every time I have fallen in my life, I got back up and something better was on the other end of the rope. And so I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm terrified, honestly, right now. I'm so terrified because this is the biggest, highest level that I've ever gone. I have a lot more to lose today than I did 15 years ago. 15 years ago, like, people were eating popcorn, like, this is going to be fun to watch this shit show. Now, I've earned a lot of credibility and trust and respect in, networks all over the globe today, that me falling off that rope seems like death to me. And it's actually where I can facilitate more transformation, is having the courage and bravery to just fucking go.
Absolutely. And just by doing it and being so open and honest about where you're at with everything, I think just it hits so much deeper than with somebody sitting in the seat like you are at, in your position, in your power, in your authority, and speaking all perfect and how we have it all together. Like, there's so much more more relatableness, when you can actually know that we're all in it, right? Like, we're all going through something at some season in our life where we are petrified. And the only way out is through, and not numbing and not, finding ways to check out. And I know I've been there, and it's like, it doesn't do you any good. You have to go through it.
You're just prolonging.
Absolutely.
Honestly, you're just prolonging. And, I've sat on the deathbed with the two most influential men in my life, both way before it should have been there. And we don't get this time back. And both of them, even though they had success in their life and lots of good things in their life, they would have given anything to do some things differently and to have more time. And I'll be damned if I waste one more moment. Okay, I'm saying this to you, God. Like, I hear you. Like, I'll be damned if I waste one more moment not honoring that calling on my life, no matter how terrified I am.
I'm right there with you,
and
sister.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared right now.
I'm here for you.
I wanted to cancel this interview. I was like,
I wanted to cancel too.
I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, seriously, I got nothing. And here we are having a great conversation that's going to bless the hell out of somebody else.
I agree. And I think I'm so glad you shared that, because I was actually going to cancel this podcast. Tracy just said she was going to, both be for similar reasons to some degree, right? And it's just keep showing up.
Get on the rope.
Yeah.
Get on the rope.
Get on the rope and go. So I'm curious. We don't need to go into too great detail of it.
Yeah.
How does the Enneagram really tie into all of this? So
all of it.
Just kind of like if you were to give like a Cliff Note version, Cliff Notes back in the day, we had those yellow packets.
Yeah, before you could use ChatGPT.
Exactly. Like,
we actually had to buy the book. What I love about the Enneagram and how it leads us back to God even. I've carried 2 babies in my body, and I know how they were in utero before they were earthside and before life lifed them a little bit. Like, their essence and their makeup, I could feel it in my body. And then, they come out into the world and, very true to that. But then, they're put into circumstances and families and situations and even traumas that can alter the expression of that. And I think what's cool about the Enneagram is it brings us to the true essence of who God designed you to be. Now we do have free will, and life is going to life you, right? And that's where the rest of it kind of serves as this roadmap. I know, like, my calling and my motive is all into being strong and powerful in a healthy way, right? But what I was taught, told, and modeled about what was strong and powerful was very dysfunctional. Like, being in that vulnerability is actually where all my power is and all my strength is. But we go off-roading sometimes, right? We come out of our home base, even God came out of his home base. God was an Enneagram 9, I believe. Jesus was an Enneagram 9. And although the ultimate peacemaker, that's what the 9 is, there were times where Jesus had to throw it down for some of the rascals in the Bible, right? Like he's like, you guys are crackers and you're acting like nuts. And what is going on? He had to whip them, like, so to speak, like into shape. Like even Jesus had to kind of step into other parts of who he was in order to bring, goodness and peace to us all. And I think we all have that. And when we know, kind of go back to the atlas for a minute, when I was a little girl, like how do we get from here to there? When I want to be in that walled up, stoic, unvulnerable version of myself with the framework of the Enneagram, when you know how to integrate some of this information and make it into transformation. If I'm just in that intensity all the time, I can't do the work that I do. I can't be the mother that I am. I can't be the friend that I am that is nurturing and sensitive and empathetic. My natural makeup is like divine and conquer and protect. And so when you use the entire framework of the Enneagram, you can tap into these other parts. You can pull these levers. I like to liken it like, if you think about your favorite movie characters or TV show characters or even Jesus, right? There's always this supporting cast within ourselves. Like obviously out in the world, we have a supporting cast and, other players, but the beauty of the Enneagram is seeing that we have a supporting cast built into us. We just have to know what their skills are, when to pull them out. And it's all right there. It's all right there. So when I'm in that intensity and like a force and a bulldozer, like, although that has worked out sometimes in my life, it's also almost destroyed the very things that mean the most to me. So I have to use kind of more of this free-spirited part of me and the visionary and thinking forward and the playful parts of me, so it's not just so intense all the time. And then I also have to pull in the wisdom and the inclusivity and how do I communicate this in a filter where more can receive the divine message, because not everybody's going to receive the message if I'm so fucking intense all the time. I'm still intense, but I can filter it with like this divine wisdom. That's all the framework of the Enneagram and knowing how to use it. And then there's also the compass part of the Enneagram. Those are like the supporting cast parts of the Enneagram. They're called the wings. But then there's the compass to kind of let us know where we are in this journey, right? We have this number we go to, like if we're saying I want to be the best version of myself, the target is very clear what that looks like in front of you. And it's usually the thing that makes you the most uncomfortable. But at least when you see the target, you know where you're aiming. Doesn't mean it's easy. And that's why the supporting cast is so strong. The wings are so strong because left to your own ways, you'll never hit that target. Left to my own 8 ways, I am not going to that zone. But the supporting cast can help me do that. And also when I'm under extreme stress or you're under extreme stress, before I understood this is usually where the self-loathing, the isolation, the beating ourselves up, the annihilating ourselves, the numbing, the self-abuse. There's also within your framework, you can see what that might look like. And instead of taking it and going further off the cliff, you can understand like, of course you're under stress. The supporting cast can come in and help pull you out. And you can also use that stressful moment. There's gifts within stress. If you channel and leverage them properly, that can actually catapult you further into your transformation. But you have to know what you're working with. It's kind of like if you get in your car and you're just driving, you have no idea where you're going, who knows what could happen. But having a little GPS, even if you want to take a scenic route or if you want to take a detour, like at least having an idea of where that's headed will absolutely help you enjoy the journey a little bit more. And that is my kind of way of explaining the Enneagram. It's all like we are all divinely here for a big purpose, and each Enneagram type has their own beautiful, unique gifts, and they're all very, very important. Unfortunately, for most of us, we've been dropped into circumstances, family situations, cultures, traumas that have altered the divine expression of that. And my goal with bringing the Enneagram to individuals, couples, partners, teams, companies now is to help you be in your true essence so that we can be a force in this world for good.
I love it. It's like a roadmap to your greatest self, like to really allowing that to shine through while becoming so hyper self-aware with all of your gifts.
Yeah. And when we go off-roading, because that's life, and life does get stressful, we're never going to be able to avoid that. But what we do when we're there is key. And the Enneagram is that navigation system.
I love it. How do we find out our number?
So, you go online, take a test. They're all inaccurate about 65 to 70% of the time. And if you're using this, like I just explained it, like it is next to God and my faith, this is my number one tool, right? You have to have the right information. So it'd be like, hey, I want to go to San Diego, and you keep ending up in Mexico and you don't understand why. Like that's when you go take an online assessment and they're inaccurate. That could happen. I don't recommend that. The assessment that I use now is over 95% accurate. And once you have the accurate information, then you actually can use this like a roadmap and the beautiful kind of self-awareness tool that it is. So you can go to my website, tracyo'malley.com. You'll get your own customized blueprint. Think of it like this 75-page reference manual of your type, your supporting cast, the compass, all the different components, so that when you are in this, you're like, oh shit, I need this supporting cast, I need this wing, whatever. But again, like having information doesn't equal transformation. It's integrating this. But that kind of blueprint and reference manual can certainly help you on your way. Plus, I have a podcast with over 420 episodes of all Enneagram, leadership, spirituality, wisdom.
And share that your podcast as well.
It is now called The Legends Journey. It's Enneagram, leadership, and spirituality all wrapped up into one.
I'll have all those links in the show notes as well, so you can easily access them. Oh my gosh. I want to learn more about this. I'm fascinated.
Well, girl,
what do you think my number is? If you were to guess, knowing what you know about me.
Probably a 3.
Ooh, I'm a 3.
We all want to be like you, so.
I'm a 3.
There's that.
Is 3 the best one?
They're all very, very important. 3s are like the pace car. You guys show us what's possible. Efficient, resourceful, tenacious. See a goal, hit a goal is kind of what your motive is. You like to win. A lot of times 3s believe their worth is in what they do, what they achieve, or how they appear in the world. So that can feel empty. And how many times have you crossed the finish line? You're like, yep, well, I don't feel much from that. So let's just set another goal.
What's next?
What's next? 3s, it's tough for you guys.
It is.
It's
tough being me.
But you make it look really easy. So it's hard sometimes for those of us that aren't 3s to see like the problem in that. But you also know, like, how many times have you gotten to the end zone? You feel like you're the only one there. And it's like, what am I doing all this for?
Yeah, I feel a lot of that for sure.
So my goal in life is to help 3s slow down, which they hate it. Because it's like, if I slow down, somebody's going to win. Somebody else is going to win. But it's like, if you slow down, you'll bring more with you. You'll feel like you'll know you're doing this not just because it's measurable or you can win it. You're doing it because you were divinely ordered to do it. And it will feel so much better. And no matter what, when you operate from that calling, from that, I'm doing this because I don't even care about the measurables attached to it. When a 3 steps into that, you win every fucking time.
Yeah, I do. I feel like that's where I'm operating from now.
I know you are.
Like where
you
it's
totally are.
Like I just love doing what I do.
I know.
And I'm not really looking at metrics. I know that's important, but I'm not really concerned, at least for right now. I think.
And no, that's like, that is the glow up for an Enneagram 3 is I usually challenge them to do things that aren't measurable, recorded on a spreadsheet, a P&L, acknowledged publicly. And they're like, then how do I know if I'm great or if I won? I'm like, because you are. Just because you are.
I love that. That is so good.
Yeah.
Tracy O'Malley.
Chrissy,
I just love having you
just
on
love
here
you
right
too.
now. Like, ooh. So I'm going to actually.
Oh, I love these kind of things.
I know.
I love not knowing the questions.
No idea where I'm
these
going.
These are my
with this
favorite.
one.
Okay, what are we doing?
A few I want to give some like O'Malley tips, know, because you have so many great.
Buckle up.
You do. You really do. So I'm going to go through a series of questions that are really going to help the audience listeners to. So get your pen and paper ready, pen and paper.
Put your armor on.
Put it on.
It could get hot around here.
It always gets hot around here. So looking at your life now, what would you tell the version of you who was in the thick of the struggle? I love correlating higher self moments back to younger self moments for those that are in the process of right now, because it's always a journey, right? We're constantly evolving and growing all the things. And so I think it's always just so nice to tap into that higher self, looking back at the younger self, like really just sitting into that whole seat of it all.
Honestly, what I say now is the same thing God said to me. This is all going to matter for something much bigger and more beautiful than you can even imagine. And so when I was 4, when I was 9, and very clearly heard that messaging, that is now my own voice when I'm in the thick of this. Like right now, like this is all going to matter for something much more big and beautiful than you can even imagine. So
write that down.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard. It's like, it's almost like I was joking with a friend this week. She's going through something that was like really hard. And I'm like, I'm not going to bullshit you by saying, oh, this is happening for you and not to you. Like that's real nice, but not when you're in it. Like it feels, this is happening to me. Right. And so instead of even patronizing myself with, oh, this is happening for you, it's more like this divine knowing, like this is going to be more beautiful and impactful than you can even imagine. That feels way better than, oh, you're being punished and this is happening for you. Like you always have to struggle in order for it to be for you. Like, no, that's not always true, but like more of that nurturing, protective, guiding voice that God has always been in my life.
I love that you share that, because I think we get so just bombarded with Instagram clips.
Word salad. I
love that word.
Shut the fuck up already with it. Like
throw a little goddess dressing on it. It's all going to be okay.
Please. And don't stop. Ugh.
I know. There's a lot.
I know, it's beautiful. And they're great marketers. And I'm envious of that, but shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah. I think it's just it's so nice to have just another real explanation on when you're going through the struggle and how that looks like and how you can lean into it.
Lean in, not out, not avoid, not disassociate, not come up with a better marketing plan. Stop it.
Right.
Lean in.
Or everything happens for a reason.
I fucking hate that because there's a lot of heinous shit that happens that, I'm a product of sexual abuse and assault and stuff. And there's nothing in that happened for a reason. Now, I will say this though, anything that does happen, you absolutely 100% have the power to turn into something beautiful.
It's what you do with it.
It's what you do with it.
But I agree with you. It didn't happen for you.
No.
Yeah.
That did not happen for me.
I've been shifting my perspective on a lot of that, just kind of as we evolve and we grow inward and we really stay more connected along this journey.
Yeah.
You just start realizing how much would you say spiritual salad?
Spiritual arrogance and word salad.
Or just a lot of like blah, 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 blah,
please,
And
please.
So getting
even
more,
some of the best-selling books that are out there right now, I'm not going to mention any, but
is it Aligned and Alive?
It's not bad. I love this book.
Good to know.
But there are some really great books out there that's like, you didn't invent that shit.
Yeah, I know. It's just regurgitated.
It's beautiful marketing. It's regurgitated and it's amazing. And you got the platform, but please, you trademarked it. You didn't fucking do it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. But people see through that though and feel through it.
They will eventually.
If it's not now, it'll eventually will be there.
It's okay.
Just because we're along this topic, and I would love to hear your feedback too. As I'm moving through facilitating a lot of these women's sacred experiences and retreats, and they're all so different in so many ways and how they're curated. I'm obviously meeting a lot more facilitators, in this space. And I think that's just the one thing that really kind of stings is when you start finding people in this space of leadership that are shaming and guilting irresponsibly. I mean, here we are showing up.
But they can't sell them into the next thing if there's not a problem to solve. So let's shame and put them in a deeper hole so that this product is what you can do next. Right? Like I get it. Trust me. Like I'm a business savvy person, but not at the expense of integrity, irresponsibility. I mean, we're talking about people's lives. And it is so disgusting what I see a lot of times. So if you are somebody that facilitates people, you better be sure as fuck. If you're going to crack them open, you know how to guide them in a way that serves them and their highest good, not your marketing plan and pocketbook.
100%. You heard it right from Tracy O'Malley. I'm telling you, I needed to have that conversation because it's been so heavy on my heart when I watch it and witness it, it's so discouraging.
It's part of why I have stepped back the last year, because there's so much noise. It's like, I don't want to be grouped into that. And people of light really need to step forward to drown out that. But I had to recalibrate and get good with myself because I'm so fucking angry about that. Like, it's so irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
It's so irresponsible what I see people do. And then they end up with me when they have full-blown PTSD
Mm-hmm.
and they've been sold shit that, you know, is terrible and took them down a rabbit hole that they didn't need to go to. But this last year for me has been building up my spiritual wellness, my spiritual muscles, so that I can come out guns blazing for these people. I'm done. I'm done being quiet about it.
I'm right there with you.
Fuck, I just said
I'm
it.
joining forces
I just
with
said
you.
it. So I guess
I'm right
so
there.
it is. And
so it is.
All right.
Watch out, world 2025. And watch out. The Jaguars coming out.
I guess. My God. Big
Much
Aries
needed,
moment.
though.
Big
Yeah.
Aries
Well,
moment.
see, I have a little Aries in my chart, though, too.
Do you?
I'm the Taurus. I'll balance you out earth-wise, keeping it grounded.
Yeah.
But I still have Aries. Aries is in my my Venus.
Oh, and my Venus is in Taurus. No wonder we love each other.
I love it. Are you ready for a rapid fire round?
Fire away.
18 power pack questions.
Oh, shit.
She
let's
has
go.
no idea
I can't
what's
wait.
coming at her right now.
All right.
But I
Are
guarantee
they spicy?
They can be.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna mix them up.
All
I
right.
have two sections I can do here. This is
Whatever.
amazing.
We might have
Stop.
to make this 2 episodes at this point.
I'm gonna do this instead. Okay.
Okay.
All right. What's one habit that has changed your life?
Oh. Prayer.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Lean in.
What's your go-to practice when you feel stuck or overwhelmed?
Now, I lean into my beautiful people in my life. I go hiking. Honestly, I get on a mountain, get outside and hike.
What's one self-love ritual you swear by?
Baths.
What does healing look like to you in one word?
Hashtag messy as fuck. So it's all one word if it's a hashtag.
That's accurate. What's the most powerful lesson pain has ever taught you?
This too shall pass.
What's your favorite affirmation or mantra?
I am courageous, brave, and open.
How do you tap into your intuition?
Quiet, outdoors, like being in nature outside is the best way. Movement.
If you had to describe your soul's purpose in one sentence, what would it be?
The rescuer.
What's one belief you had to unlearn to reach your next level?
That vulnerability is weakness.
What's the best investment you've ever made in yourself?
Rehab.
What's a lie you've told yourself for way too long?
That's not how strong girls do it.
What's your most embarrassing spiritual or self-growth moment?
I don't think there's any that are embarrassing. I will say it's not embarrassing, but it was a learning experience. And it goes back to kind of what we talked about is me being on stages in front of 20,000 people and telling the story. I thought I was being vulnerable. And I preached that I was being vulnerable, but I was actually being transparent. Big difference. I was telling a story that I'd already figured out. And so I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but it was probably my biggest, deepest understanding and switch that I have flipped. That vulnerability is in real time, not sure how things are going to go, leaning in and sharing that with somebody who may or may not be able to guide you through that. But it isn't embarrassing. This is just like, that's how we learn sometimes, is through it.
Have you ever received an intuitive nudge, ignored it, and instantly regretted it?
It usually is an instant. I don't regret it because there was something for me to learn through the fall of it. Not fun though.
Never.
No.
Have you ever had a spiritual meltdown in the most inconvenient place? Spill the tea.
I don't know about inconvenient place, but I do have spiritual meltdowns.
Like never at like the grocery store checkout aisle or anything like that?
No, I really, really don't. Not now. I'm so like emotionally regulated for the most part. I will say, like, there are times, like I said, for me today, intensity, like back in the day, 15 years ago, like seriously, like I joke when I say I could turn my life into a Dateline episode in 2 minutes. That's no joke. Now it's like that burst of intensity and anger. It's so rare anymore. And even when it happens now, like anger is a healthy emotion when leveraged and shifted into something good. So I turn it pretty quickly. So no, I wouldn't say there's anything I'm embarrassed of or inconvenient about it. I will say last week I had a spiritual meltdown, but it wasn't embarrassing. In fact, that was one of the most vulnerable growing moments of my life.
What's the one thing entrepreneurs waste too much time on?
Learning and not doing. I'm talking to myself, y'all, just so you know.
Sitting in the work.
God,
work.
Getting more information, gathering more information. And the more we do that, it's like we're creating our own virus in our body because it's like overload. It's like take a nugget and implement it. Take a nugget, implement it.
Are you sure the extra 100 certifications I get aren't going to help me?
No, which is funny because I'm not like a typical certification getter kind of girl, but like I do like to learn things. Mm-hmm. But then it's like I get paralyzed by it instead of just doing them.
What's one belief that has completely changed your life?
That God is good all the time. Mm-hmm. Honestly. Mm-hmm. So true. Even when it's hard.
Hashtag God is good.
Even when you're getting the shit kicked out of you sometimes. Yeah. God is good.
If you had 30 seconds to inspire the world, what would you say?
Oh, God.
You can make it a minute.
I don't even know. Honestly, it depends. Like, it depends who's in front of me. Like, I can't cookie cutter something. This is the beauty of my connection to God is I can't just pop out something without some kind of energy in front of me because I'm not a cookie cutter kind of girl. What I think the world probably needs to hear is to have hope that, you know, the things that you are going through today, no matter how unthinkable or unmanageable, there is something beautiful that will come of it if you lean in, if you stay in the full process of understanding and feeling, you will go to transformation and acceptance and see why maybe some of that had to happen for you to step into the highest version, the version that God has always created you to be. And I will say that I know that if you're in the thick of it, it feels like you're drowning. It feels like you're all alone. And I promise you, you are not. And you have to lean in, you know? I mean, that's not flashy or quotable really, but that's the fucking truth that I think most of us need reminding of.
Amen, sister. Amen. Tracy O'Malley, I adore you.
I love you.
I love you.
Thanks for having me and not letting me cancel. And I didn't let you cancel.
Thank you for not letting me cancel.
And we both look kind of pretty today.
And we do. Got our hair and makeup on. Got it all dude.
I know. I walked out of the house and he's like, damn. I'm like, I know. It's not the troll that you usually see. Thanks.
The troll. Highly doubt that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you.
Love you.
Love you.